I had to talk about a story that's very, very important. And albeit indirectly, it involves Caitlin Clark, the Department of Justice, and quite possibly the President of the United States himself. Somebody got to say it, so I'm going to say it. Ms. Clark's targeting may reflect a culture of disparate treatment, and the evidence provides reasonable cause for a federal probe into potential civil rights violations.
Stephen A. Smith just dropped a bombshell that should scare every WNBA executive. He's not just talking about bad calls anymore. He's demanding federal investigators look into what's happening to Caitlin Clark. This is the same Caitlin Clark who single-handedly drove 601% growth in merchandise sales and tripled her team's value. She brought in 1.29 million All-Star votes, but somehow was ranked 9th among guards by her own peers. Something definitely smells fishy here, and Stephen A. thinks the government needs to step in. If you agree the government should get involved, comment. Protect Caitlin Clark. Let's go.
The golden child, in her second year in the league, who was top 4 in MVP voting last year, the assist leader last year, a galvanizing talent that has done wonders for the NBA. If she is seen to be physically getting abused on a basketball court in a way that is such a clear and flagrant discrepancy compared to what happens to others, that man is not going to say something.
You want to know what makes this whole situation absolutely maddening? Let's start with the money. Caitlin Clark didn't just enter the WNBA. She instantly became its economic powerhouse, generating revenue figures that should have made her untouchable. The numbers are staggering. Exponential growth in merchandise sales, Fever's viewership tripled, total league viewership doubled, team value tripled, and League Pass subscriptions soared by 366%. These aren't minor increases. These are game-changing transformations every league dreams of.
Caitlin Clark has done for the women's NBA what Michael Jordan once did for the NBA. Made it more valuable, watchable, and marketable. Instead of protecting its transformative star, the league's leadership ignores the relentless targeting of Ms. Clark, treating its greatest asset as if she were a PR headache. That approach could turn into a legal liability for the WNBA.
Clark secured endorsement deals exceeding $11 million and drove WNBA app engagement to soar by 613%, numbers the league hadn't witnessed in ages. We're talking about a player who single-handedly transformed the entire financial landscape of women's basketball. Every metric you can think of showed huge growth directly linked to her presence.
Since she joined the league last year, Ms. Clark's impact has been seismic. Merchandise sales soared 601%. Indianafever viewership jumped 170%. The team's value tripled. League Pass subscriptions climbed 366%. App engagement rose 613%. And her endorsements topped $11 million. She's the economic engine driving the league forward.
But here's where the story gets troubling. Instead of protecting their golden star, the league let her face punishment like never before. The stats don't lie. Clark was the target of 17% of all flagrant fouls last season, which is twice as many as any other player in the league. Take a moment to let that sink in.
Let me tell you what kind of quotes Trump would lead on. Sophie Cunningham told the Wall Street Journal, she's Caitlin Clark's teammate, the Indianafever, the star player of the league is not being protected. Rebecca Lobo, analyst, ESPN. What does she say? Every single one of those plays against Caitlin Clark has been a foul.
Think about what this means. The player who is bringing in the most money is taking the hardest hits, yet officials keep missing calls left and right. You're watching defenders throw cheap shots at the woman who tripled your team's value. Flagrant fouls that would instantly draw whistles for veteran players get ignored when it's Clark on the receiving end. The pattern becomes undeniable when you watch the footage. Hard fouls that should have been flagged, obvious targeting waved off, late hits met with no response but continued play. The The league's most valuable player was being treated like a practice dummy, while officials turned a blind eye.
By the way, when she was out for the All-Star weekend this year, because she was hurt, by the way, because of the roughhouse tactics all of those folks alluded to, the ratings dropped 36%. They still had over 2 million views, but they had over 3 million last year. It dropped because she wasn't playing. Now, I told y'all, Candace Parker tried to tell y'all, Rebecca Lobo is trying to tell y'all, the goose that lays the golden eggs, the tide that lifts all boats.
This isn't a coincidence. It's a clear pattern that shows just how badly the WNBA has mishandled its most valuable asset. When your top revenue generator is taking twice as many flagrant fouls as anyone else, something is seriously broken in the system. The real question is, how did a league let jealousy and resentment outweigh basic business sense? How do you stand by while someone reshapes your entire economic model, yet fail to protect them from systematic targeting?
Do you know what Gino Auriemma said? He said, she's being targeted. I don't remember when Michael Jordan came into the league, guys looking to go out and beat him up. Only the Detroit Pistons were looking to beat him up. And then after that, the New York Knicks with Pat Riley and Ewing and Anthony Mason and Xavier McDaniels and Charles Oakley and all of these guys. The John Starks of the world, Derek Harpers of the world eventually, stuff like that.
Stephen A. Smith didn't just criticize the WNBA. He opened the door to something that should alarm Commissioner Kathy Engelberg and every league executive. When Stephen A. moves from sports commentary to calling for federal intervention, you know the situation has hit a breaking point that goes far beyond basketball.
Ms. Clark's targeting may reflect a culture of disparate treatment, and the evidence provides reasonable cause for a federal probe into potential civil rights violations. Am I making it up now? Remember I said this months ago. Remember I talked about people being jealous. The Cheryl Swoops of the world and others. Remember I pointed that stuff out? Remember I talked about the rough housing?
The Wall Street Journal published a powerful op-ed urging the federal government to investigate Caitlin Clark's treatment as a civil rights matter. This wasn't some random blogger making noise. This came from one of America's most respected publications, sending a clear warning to the WNBA. The article didn't hold back in describing what they see happening to the league's biggest star.